All right, I'm going to get started. My name is Dae Bogan. I'm the head of third-party partnerships at the MLC. Part of my role is overseeing some of our mission-critical partners, which includes those partners that we've been setting up to help um, power our DQI initiative and to make sure that we have DQI, our data quality initiative, accessible to the music industry for rights holders of all sizes. Today's webinar, we're going to talk about the MLC in general, but then dive into a particular presentation from our partner, TuneRegistry. And I'll be welcoming in our presenter in a few minutes. I'll start by saying if you have any questions, drop that in our Q&A box, not in the chat box. We'll get to the Q&A at the end and we'll be able to answer all your questions there. All right, so overview of the MLC. The MLC was created pursuant to the Music Modernization Act of 2018. The MLC offers a new blanket license for digital music providers to cover mechanical licensing of US-based interactive streaming and downloads. In this little diagram to the right here, you see it depicts receiving usage data and royalties from digital music providers. We then match the sound recording information to the musical work ownership information in our database, and then pay out royalties to self-administered songwriters, ex-US CMOs, and music publishers. So this is our primary main function as provided by the MMA. Again, the royalties flow from US digital music providers direct to our members, who includes publishers, administrators, self-administered songwriters, US CMOs. The MLC is the exclusive administrator of the new digital music license. The MLC is the only organization that can collect and distribute the royalties paid pursuant to this new blanket license to rights holders. So the MLC is mandated by Title I, which is the Musical Works Modernization Act, which made updates to Section 115 of the Copyright Act. This includes a blanket license, which created the blanket compulsory mechanical license for interactive streaming, limited downloads, and permanent downloads. The MLC was mandated to be the mechanical licensing collective as pursuant to the MLC, to the MMA, and then mandated that the MLC establish and maintain a publicly available musical works database. The new blanket license only covers digital audio mechanical rights for uses of musical works in the United States. And I think that's a key thing for those who may not be aware that the MLC is primarily, only focused on the United States in terms of collecting mechanical royalties, and it's specifically for digital audio. So this includes interactive streams, limited downloads, and permanent downloads, but does not include video streams or video downloads, public performance of musical works, mechanicals for physical products, or non-interactive streams such as radio style playback. The MLC does and does not do the following. The MLC established and maintains a public database of musical works ownership information. We administer the new blanket license. We receive and match sound recording usage reporting data from digital audio services with our musical works ownership data. And we collect and distribute US digital audio mechanical royalties to music publishers, administrators, foreign CMOs, and self-administered songwriters, composers, and lyricists. We do not administer performance rights for musical works or collect performance royalties. We do not administer digital performance rights for sound recordings or collect digital performance royalties. We do not administer mechanical rights or collect mechanical royalties for physical products. We do not administer any licenses or collect any royalties related to the use of musical works in audiovisual works. And we do not administer licenses or collect royalties for the use of musical works outside the United States. The MLC does not replace PROs, and the MLC does not replace Sound Exchange. So here's sort of an overview of the royalty landscape in the United States, the digital music landscape, starting here on the left with this section in regards to musical works. As we flow down, we first can highlight here the rights that we're talking about. So public performance rights generates performance royalties. These royalties are collected and distributed by performing rights organizations such as ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and GMR. And those royalties are then paid out in the publisher share and in a writer share. The reproduction and distribution rights of musical work copyrights is embodied in the mechanical royalties. and those royalties flow two ways. From the blanket mechanical royalties, again, we are the exclusive organization to administer the blanket license. So royalties paid pursuant to blanket mechanical license will flow through the MLC to music publishers, administrators, self-administered songwriters, and from publishers down to represented songwriters. For voluntary licenses or direct licenses, these royalties are paid directly from services to the parties in their agreement, and that could be streaming royalties from DSPs or third-party administrators paid directly to rights holders. And then there's royalties from downloads, which has traditionally come through the record labels and distributors to the publishers and songwriters. On the sound recording side, the reproduction and distribution rights are embodied in the wholesale proceeds, so streaming and download revenue. Those royalties are paid to distributors and aggregators, and then paid down to record labels and self-released artists. And then record labels pay their artists and producers pursuant to their agreements. Then we have digital performing rights, which are embodied in the digital performance royalty, which is collected in the United States by Sound Exchange. And those are paid out in a label share, a featured artist share, and then a non-featured artist pool, which goes to the Union Intellectual Property Rights Distribution Fund. So this is sort of the landscape, the updated landscape of digital music now that we have the MLC and our role in administering exclusively the blanket license. So who needs to become a member of the MLC? Music publishers, administrators, ex-US mechanical CMOs who are entitled to collect US digital mechanical royalties can become a member, which we call Connect to Collect. And you can review and update data for the works that you administer, which we call play to your part. Songwriters, composers, and lyricists, if you self-administer any of your songs, you can become a member. And then you can also review and update data for only the works you administer. If you do not self-administer any of your songs, for example, if you're a songwriter, composer, or lyricist, and you've hired an independent publisher or a publishing administrator to be your administrator, then that party would be the member at the MLC on your behalf for your works. So in that case, you would not do not need to become a member, but you can still review your data for your works in our public search, which we think is still very important. Unlike the system for performance royalties, mechanical royalties are not separated into writer shares and publisher share. Published songwriters, composers, and lyricists whose works are administered by other parties are encouraged to work with their administrator to make any needed updates. So again, you want to check the public search to make sure all your songs are registered with the MLC. And if there's something missing, if you are represented by a publisher or administrator, you want to check with them and make sure that those works get cleared up, get registered. So how to become a member? You can enroll on our website. Go to www.themlc.com and click Connect to Collect, which is a blue button in the upper right corner. DSPs pay 100% of the MLC's operating costs. This allows us to distribute 100% of the royalties that we receive without deducting any administration fees. So it's free to join the MLC, and you still receive 100% of the royalties that you earn. So after becoming a member, you want to check your data. You can do so by, again, logging into your portal and checking the data. You can also do so by participating in our data quality initiative, which is the point of this webinar. The data quality initiative is a process for checking your data in bulk in a machine readable format, and then receiving a report on any discrepancies that may exist between the information that you have and versus the information that we have. This enables rights holders to clear up any discrepancies to unlock potential royalties. You also want to confirm your payment information. Make sure your contact and payment banking information is accurate and complete in our system so that you can be paid out during the royalty distributions. So far, the DQI, our data quality initiative, has had over 400 participants. We've compared over 17 million works, and we have a number of webinars on the DQI on our website under the resources page. So now I'm going to welcome in our partner, TuneRegistry, and William, who will be providing a demonstration of TuneRegistry's implementation of DQI and how TuneRegistry customers can participate in the data quality initiative.
Hi, Dae. Thank you for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So for those who are unaware, TuneRegistry is a platform for self-administered songwriters and rights holders, whether it's a music publishing company or a management firm, to register their works data. And the way that we've implemented the DQI into our system was we tightly integrated it so that it would provide the most value for our customers. And our implementation relies solely on the unique identifiers, which are the HFA song code and or the ISWC code for the works. So for our existing customers, they will already have their catalog data in our system. For new customers, they can upload their work at this time in CWR format. And then as part of the registration process, within the song catalog, we have fields for the different identifiers. As we were evaluating how to implement the DQI process, we wanted to make sure that we allowed it to be simple and understandable for users who have various levels of knowledge or familiarity with music publishing. So we came up with this presentation where the user will come into their TuneRegistry system, go to services. They'll be presented with a card for the DQI process. They'll click start. Once they click start, it will provide them with information of what this process is for, and verify that they would like to check their data against the MLC's database. They'll click start. Once they click start, our system will go ahead and pull the works that are eligible or have those unique identifiers submitted to the MLC on their behalf for the DQI process. Give them some brief information here. And then once that report comes back, which typically is within 10, 15 minutes, then they're able to go to the view results screen to see the results. One of the things that we wanted to ensure is that once a user received the report, that they were able to understand the information. The first way we did that was by providing the summary that would typically be provided in the returning data from the MLCs. So this, our summary shows you how many works were submitted, how many works were processed, and then how many works were not submitted. By hovering over the not submitted, we also have a tooltip that gives you a reason for why they were not submitted. This is also a clickable field so that our users are able to identify which works were not submitted and go into those details. We've also wanted to present the information within our application for the most recent results, which is laid out here. And then because the data is in a TSV format or Excel format, then when there's different messages, the user is able to click on the headers and kind of organize this in whichever way they feel is most convenient for them. Also, when looking at the data that comes in the report, sometimes it's a little confusing. For example, if you have a work with an actual ISWC code and it tells you that it's invalid, if you know that the ISWC code was issued by your PRO, this can be confusing on why it's invalid within the DQI process. So we introduced tooltips to our header as well to kind of provide additional context to our customers on how this information or why this information is being returned. For this code, if this was a valid ISWC, it would be due to the fact that the MLC does not have that ISWC code on file. As far as previous reports, our users can click on history. They can download their previous report, which will be the source data or the zip file that the MLC returned. In addition, because we do work with users of various knowledge of music publishing, if there's any questions regarding the data, they can always click in the bottom right-hand corner and submit a ticket to support. And then we'll be able to provide general guidance on how they can go about resolving these issues as they update their work information, whether within the TuneRegistry system or with the MLC. They can always go back to the services tab, start a new process, and then the report will start to reflect those corrections. And that's our implementation of the MLC DQI process.
Thank you very much, William. Appreciate that. Looks great. All right, I'm going to continue on with more on the more on the MLC, and then we'll get into Q&A. All right, so our royalty distribution timeline. So after you've checked your data and cleaned that data up, you're going to start receiving any due royalties, and our royalty cadence is a monthly basis. So we pay out royalties on a monthly basis 75 days after the end of the month when the activity took place. So for example, the activity that took place in January was paid out in April. The way we do this is 10 days following the end of the activity period. We take a snapshot of our database based on the ownership information and the splits or the shares that has been registered to us. This is the basis of how we process the received data from usage data from CMOs. I'm sorry, from our DMPs, digital music providers. We then spend some time and clean up and validate and check against previous periods. And then we have 70 days as the last day for members to update payment information before you get paid out. And then by day 75, we'll begin sending out royalty statements and payments to our members. So this is the cycle on a monthly basis that we process to get your royalties out. So again, royalties paid in April were for January, for February, they'll be paid out in May, for March, paid out in June, and so forth. We're here to help. We have a support team that's available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. We're also accessible via phone, email on our website, and chat in the portal. Any additional information in regards to MLC or the DQI can be found on our website at themlc.com.